Ronald Reagan earned the nickname the Great Communicator because of his unique ability to inspire confidence and trust. But how did he learn to speak and listen to a nation? Ronald Reagan first entered the spotlight as an actor, appearing in school plays in Dixon, Illinois, and at Eureka College.
I tried out for a student play, and then another. I tried hard to understand the characters I played. The process called empathy is not bad training for someone who goes into politics or any other calling.
After college, Ronald Reagan's first calling was in radio. He traveled to station WOC in Davenport, Iowa, where he was invited to audition as a sports announcer with one small twist.
He took me in the studio, and he said, when the red light goes on, you start broadcasting an imaginary football game.
Thinking on his feet, he described an exciting game from his football days at Eureka College.
Here we are in the fourth quarter with Western State University leading Eureka College 6-0. Long blue shadows are settling over the field, and a chill wind is blowing in through the end of the stadium.
Ronald Reagan's quick thinking won him his first job in radio. His second followed shortly after, when station WHO in Des Moines hired him to broadcast home games for the Chicago Cubs. Sitting in a studio far from the ballpark, Ronald Reagan recreated colorful accounts of games based only on telegraphed messages. It was at WHO that he honed his ability to make listeners feel as though he was addressing them directly.
How do you do, everybody? I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ronald Reagan. A few months ago, I was a sports announcer on a radio station in Des Moines, Iowa. One day, I ran into one of these movie talent scouts. The next thing I knew, I was taking a screen test for Warner Brothers in Hollywood. I guess it was okay. At least I liked Hollywood, so here I am. I'll see you in the movies.
After seeing himself on camera for the first time, Ronald Reagan quickly learned that every expression and gesture mattered. He also developed his comic timing.
But I'm still just a little puzzled. You say you're from Central Europe?
Well, maybe a little to the right.
As his reputation grew, he was cast in more challenging roles. Some became legendary.
Ask him to go in there with all they've got. Win just one for the Kipper.
Randy! Randy! Where's the rest of me?
In late 1941, America entered World War II. Ronald Reagan was called to active duty, but his nearsightedness kept him from going overseas. Instead, he was assigned to the Domestic Motion Picture Unit. There, he made and appeared in Army training films, documentaries, and the wartime musical, This Is the Army.
Like other members of my generation, I came home from the war expecting a better world. But I didn't like some of the things I saw after VJ Day. My own industry, motion pictures, was being ripped apart by a bitter labor dispute.
Hollywood was a jungle at the time. The mob was in there, the communists were in there.
In 1946, the Screen Actors Guild asked Ronald Reagan to mediate a dispute between rival unions.
The training ground that was most important to him in being able to learn the art of political compromise was the Screen Actors Guild.
The next year, Ronald Reagan became the Guild's president, where he led the union in several successful contract negotiations.
It was a very political, militant, and difficult milieu, and Reagan excelled in it.
In the early 1950s, I became the host of a new weekly television anthology program, General Electric Theater.
For General Electric, here is Ronald Reagan. How many of you out there have thought or even said what a wonderful book my life would make if I could only write? Well, our story tonight is about Miss Burroughs, who dreamed her dreams and who set out to do something about it.
Along with his role as host of GE Theater, Ronald Reagan and his family helped spread the company's message.
Oh, that's hot.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, but delicious. Everything's just right, isn't it, Patty?
Yeah. Well, it's the easiest meal to make. My electric servants do everything.
Well, that's part of living better electrically.
He also played an off-screen role as GE's corporate ambassador.
He would literally go to every factory in the United States, and he would do town hall meetings and employee meetings and go visit people in the research centers.
Those GE tours became almost a postgraduate course in political science for me.
He spent 8 years in talking to people, listening to their problems, and developing his own ideas about how to solve them.
Ronald Reagan developed what he called the speech, and it was really an encapsulation of teamwork, entrepreneurship, individual freedom, and it became the fabric of his political philosophy as years went on.
By 1964, Ronald Reagan was ready to take that speech to the political stage.
You and I have a rendezvous with destiny.
And America was introduced to the man who would become known as the great communicator.
That you and I have the ability and the dignity and the right to make our own decisions and determine our own destiny.